Have you ever wondered if you could survive a zombie outbreak while trapped in your cozy suburban home or cramped city apartment? Most people think they know the answer. Suburbs are obviously safer, right? Wrong. You're about to discover that everything you think you know about zombie survival is backwards, and the place you'd least expect might actually be your best shot at staying alive. Before we dive into this analysis, let's establish our parameters. You're already living in your location when the outbreak hits, so no time to pack up and relocate. You've got whatever supplies are normally in your home, plus maybe a day or two to grab essentials before things go completely sideways. We're assuming you're either solo or with a small group of 2 to 4 people. No plot armor, no military training, just regular folks trying not to become undead lunch. Every apartment building and suburban neighborhood is different, so I can't account for every variable. But I can break down the core advantages and disadvantages that will determine whether you're celebrating your first month of survival or shambling around looking for brains. Let's break down what gives apartment dwellers a fighting chance. And trust me, there are more advantages than you think. Vertical defense advantage. Here's something most people don't consider. Height equals safety. If you're on the 3rd floor or higher, you've got a natural moat of stairs between you and the zombie horde. Zombies can climb stairs, but they're slow and clumsy. You can hear them coming from floors away, giving you time to prepare or escape. Meanwhile, your suburban neighbors are dealing with zombies walking right up to their front door. One broken window and they're screwed. Multiple escape routes apartments typically have at least 2 stairwells, fire escapes, and sometimes roof access. That suburban house, 1 front door, 1 back door, maybe some windows if you're lucky. When zombies surround your house, you're trapped. In an apartment building, you can move between floors, use different exits, or even escape across rooftops to adjacent buildings. The urban environment becomes a 3-dimensional maze that works in your favor. Shared resources and manpower. This is huge. You're not alone. A typical apartment building has 20 to 100 other residents, and some of them are going to be useful. You'll find doctors, mechanics, former military, people with practical skills. Pool your resources and you've got a mini community. That suburban family is isolated, trying to handle everything themselves while their neighbors are either dead or fled. Urban supply-density cities pack more resources into smaller areas. Within a few blocks of most apartment buildings, you'll find multiple grocery stores, pharmacies, hardware stores, and restaurants. Yes, there are more zombies, but there's also exponentially more stuff to scavenge. Suburban areas might have 1 strip mall per square mile. Good luck getting there when the streets are crawling with undead. Structural advantages. Apartment buildings are built like fortresses compared to suburban homes. Concrete and steel construction, heavy fire doors, narrow hallways that create choke points. Many buildings have security systems, controlled access, and reinforced entry points. Your suburban house has drywall, wood framing, and windows that a determined zombie could eventually break through. Noise camouflage cities are loud. Traffic, construction, sirens, general urban chaos. Your movements blend into the background noise. In quiet suburbia, every footstep, every door closing, every whispered conversation carries for blocks. You're advertising your location to every zombie in the neighborhood. Established infrastructure. Apartment buildings often have backup generators, water storage systems, and centralized utilities that last longer during infrastructure collapse. Some buildings have their own water pumps, emergency lighting, and communication systems. Suburban homes lose power and water immediately when the grid goes down. Rooftop advantages. Most apartment buildings have roof access, giving you a perfect vantage point for reconnaissance, signaling for help, or even growing food in containers. You can see zombie movements from miles away and plan accordingly. Suburban rooftops are isolated islands. You can see your immediate area, but you're stuck there. Here's where apartment living gets ugly, and some of these problems will absolutely get you killed if you're not prepared. Population density nightmare. The same density that gives you resources also gives you zombies. Lots of them. A single apartment building might house 200 people, and if even half-turned, you're dealing with 100 zombies in your immediate vicinity. They know the building layout. They know where you live, and they're not going anywhere. That's 100 zombies who used to be your neighbors, and they remember which apartment had the good cooking smells. The stairwell death trap. Those stairs that protect you, they also trap you. If zombies get into the stairwell and you're above them, you're screwed. They don't get tired, they don't give up, and they'll wait at the bottom forever. You can't get to your escape routes, you can't access supplies, and eventually you'll starve. It's like being under siege in your own home. Shared ventilation systems. Apartment buildings share air systems, and that means shared contamination risks. If the zombie virus is airborne, you're breathing the same air as infected residents. Even if it's not, the smell of decay and death will permeate the entire building through the vents. You'll know exactly how many of your neighbors have turned, and it's psychological torture. Resource competition. Remember those useful neighbors I mentioned? They're also competition for limited supplies. When food runs low, people get desperate. You might survive the zombies only to get killed by your neighbor who wants your canned goods. Human nature gets ugly fast when survival is on the line. No escape from social dynamics. You can't choose your apartment neighbors and you're stuck with them during the apocalypse. That guy who plays music too loud, the woman who hoards everything, the family with screaming kids, they're all potential liabilities now. One person making noise can doom the entire building. Urban zombie density. The city doesn't just have more zombies, it has exponentially more zombies. We're talking thousands per square mile instead of dozens. Every street is a gauntlet, every supply run is a suicide mission. The sheer numbers mean that even if you survive in your building, you're trapped there indefinitely. Infrastructure collapse cities are complex systems, and when they fail catastrophically. No power means no elevators, no water pumps, no sewage systems. Garbage piles up, disease spreads, and your fortress becomes a tomb. Suburban areas might lose utilities, but they don't have 50 floors of human waste backing up into the basement. The sound amplification problem. Apartment buildings are echo chambers. One person screaming on the 5th floor can be heard throughout the building, attracting every zombie in the area. Concrete and steel don't just keep zombies out, they keep sound in, turning your building into a dinner bell for the undead. Space and privacy. Suburban homes give you room to move, store supplies, and maintain some semblance of normal life. You're not sharing walls with potential zombies, and you can control your immediate environment. There's psychological value in having your own space during a crisis. Lower initial zombie density suburbs start with fewer people, which means fewer zombies initially. You might have days or even weeks before zombie hordes from urban areas reach your neighborhood. That's valuable time to prepare, fortify, or escape. Vehicle access. Most suburban homes have garages and driveways, giving you immediate access to transportation. Cars are mobile fortresses and supply-gathering tools. Try getting to your car from a downtown apartment building when the streets are full of zombies. Yard space for resources. You can grow food, collect rainwater, and create defensive positions in your yard. Some suburban homes have wells, generators, or other self-sufficient systems. You're not dependent on shared building infrastructure. Familiar territory. You know your neighborhood. Every street, every shortcut, every neighbor's habits. This local knowledge is invaluable for scavenging, avoiding danger, and finding safe routes. Isolation kills. When things go wrong in suburbia, you're on your own. No neighbors to help, no shared resources, no backup. If you get injured, sick, or overwhelmed, there's nobody coming to help. That self-reliance becomes a fatal weakness when you need support. Resource scarcity. Suburban areas are resource deserts. One grocery store serves thousands of homes, and it'll be cleaned out in hours. Your neighbors had the same idea you did, and they got there first. Now you're looking at a 10-mile round trip through zombie territory for a can of beans. Indefensible positions. Suburban homes are built for comfort, not defense. Large windows, multiple entry points, wood frame construction, it's all designed to be welcoming. Zombies don't need an invitation. They'll come through your sliding glass door, your picture window, or just walk through your drywall. The noise problem. Suburbs are quiet, which means every sound you make advertises your location. Start a generator? Every zombie for miles knows where you are. Suburban acoustics work against you. Sound carries far in open spaces with minimal background noise. No vertical escape. Most suburban homes are single or two-story structures. When zombies surround your house, you're trapped at ground level with them. No fire escapes, no roof access to adjacent buildings, no way up and out. You're in a box with limited exits. Infrastructure dependency. Suburban life depends entirely on external infrastructure. Power grids, water systems, supply chains. When those fail, suburbs become uninhabitable faster than cities. At least cities have some redundancy in local resources. Vehicle dependency. Everything in suburbia requires a car to reach. When fuel runs out or roads become impassable, you're stranded. Your mobility advantage becomes a fatal weakness when you can't maintain or fuel your vehicles. Zombie migration patterns. Here's the thing nobody talks about. Zombies follow people, and people flee cities for suburbs. Your quiet neighborhood becomes the destination for every zombie horde following refugees out of urban areas. You're not avoiding the zombie problem, you're just delaying it while making yourself less prepared to handle it. In the first 30 days, apartments score 6 out of 10. You'll face higher initial zombie density and more competition for resources, but you gain better defensive positions and immediate community support. Suburbs score 7 out of 10 in the short term thanks to a lower initial threat level and more individual resources. However, the isolation that seems manageable at first becomes problematic quickly. Over the long term, 3+ months, apartments rise to 7 out of 10 because sustainable community dynamics and dense urban resources can support survival if you can manage the zombie population. Suburbs drop to 4 out of 10 as resource depletion and infrastructure collapse make long-term survival nearly impossible. Key factors break down like this. Apartments win on community support, resource density, defensive positions, and multiple escape routes. Suburbs win on initial safety, individual space, vehicle access, and familiar territory. Both are vulnerable to infrastructure dependency, but suburbs tend to fail faster and more completely. Here's the brutal truth. Suburbs look safer at first because they start with fewer zombies, but that advantage disappears fast. The isolation that feels protective becomes fatal when you need help, supplies, or backup plans. Apartments force you to confront the zombie problem immediately, but they also give you the tools and community to actually solve it. The counterintuitive reality is that the place that seems more dangerous, the dense urban apartment building, actually provides better long-term survival odds. You'll face more immediate challenges, but you'll also have more resources to overcome them. My recommendation? If you're in an apartment when the outbreak hits, stay put and organize your building. If you're in suburbia, get out fast and move to a defensible urban position before the zombie migration reaches you. I know this goes against everything you've seen in zombie movies, but the math doesn't lie. Would you rather face 100 zombies with 50 allies and unlimited supplies, or 10 zombies alone with whatever's in your pantry? Drop your survival ratings in the comments. Do you think I'm crazy, or does the apartment advantage make sense? And if you've got your own zombie survival theories, I want to hear them. This channel grows because of discussions like these, so hit that like button if this analysis surprised you, and subscribe for more survival breakdowns that challenge everything you think you know about staying alive when the world ends. Your feedback keeps me analyzing these scenarios, and honestly, I love hearing your takes on survival strategy. Whether you're team apartment or team suburb, let's keep the conversation going. Because when the zombie apocalypse hits, we're all going to need every advantage we can get.